Okay, it looks like we're live. Nice to see all of you here already. There's, I think, over 100 of you waiting. The title today is Gold Revaluation Clause Embedded in Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill. And of course, this bill hasn't passed. It's been reintroduced. It was reintroduced last week by Senator Loomis, I think, from Wyoming. And yeah, we're going to look at that because someone found that in that bill, there was something about gold revaluation. And that's quite interesting because of all the speculation that's been going on. So tonight, well, it's tonight for me. Um, Clive unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. He had a prior engagement. I was trying to get Eric Young or King Kong on, but he couldn't make it because even though he came a week or two ago, uh, it's 4 a.m. where he is in Hong Kong, so he had to go to sleep, and I understand that. And I'm probably going to have him on, do an interview with him this coming week. He's really on top of all the stuff that's going on, including this gold revaluation. And the other thing I like to do today is also answer your questions because it gets harder and harder, um, let's say, through the normal videos to go through all the comments. The other thing I find is that there's a lot of new bots out there, which is unfortunate. We're seeing people, yeah, bots, and I spend a lot of time deleting them. That's the other thing I like to say. You need to be careful because they impersonate me, and they ask people to send them messages and stuff. I never do that, of course. So anyway, just greet as many of you as possible. Our Elkas is here. Blue Water Stacks, Darren Smith, Meister123 says, thank you for your dedication and wisdom, Mario. Oh, you're welcome. I try my best. Jillian B is here. Sat Stacker, NIK, Darren Smith. Let's see. Full of Hope is here. Hi, Full of Hope, longtime follower. Jake's Custom Parts. Ascanius, ciao Mario from Canada. Hope you're feeling well. Yeah, we're all well. Rudy is here. He had a haircut and a groom, so he smells a lot better. Rudy. Andy Lee from Italy. David G. Grant, GH. Uh, yeah, I'm always a little earlier than the scheduled time. I think if I changed that, people would be very upset. Matt Bittner, DD Prepper, back up the truck. Yeah. Uh, Vu Tran Tran, Coffee Stocks, a lot of you already here. Dutch Libertarian, Mark UK, Chris Conman says, hi, Marion Rudy. Nick Banfield from Cranley, Charles Schulten, Alex Flores. Yeah, gold did trade over 3,000 on Friday, the spot price. I think the high was 3,005. It did close around 29.85, but yeah, it's just a round number. Eventually, gold is going to go a lot higher, not just in dollars, but in all other fiat currencies. I don't think there's a way to stop what's going on because it's not really gold that's going up. It's the fiat currencies that are just yeah, it's like the Hemingway moment in the novel he wrote. A character said, "How did you go bankrupt?" And the guy said, "Gradually," and then all of a sudden it just hit. And I think that's where we are. That's why economic and social, political, and geopolitical conditions are, they are really chaotic and yeah, they are in a point, kind of, we've never seen it before. At least people Maybe people who are 90 or 100 have seen it, but most living people haven't. 504 Hot Boy Mario, what would you do if you were 30 years old, 30-year-old man today with the economy going the way it is? Hard to know where to place your energy. Um, I think you just stick to what you know. And what you're good at. And that's not even because you're 30. I mean, I had an experience like that. After I left the city of London, I tried something new, didn't work, and started this channel. Well, I was just over 50. And I try to stick to what I knew, and that's what helped me build this channel. So just, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're 30, 20, 40, 50, even 60. You just got to keep going and don't try to worry too much about the economy. And the reason I talk about the economy, though, and what's going on is to help people understand and maybe safeguard some of their savings. But ultimately, you need to focus on yourself, your family, and not get down on yourself. Fortune, and by fortune, I don't mean making a lot of money, but your fortunes can change on a dime. You just have to be persistent and be in the right place at the right time. And that can only happen if you're doing stuff. You can't like let yourself, don't let things get you down. Frank Avidra, thank you for your super chat. What do you think on the PSOV short position? Major price action in silver soon. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that PSLV. I mean, I don't really follow the ETFs that much because I don't think they're real silver or gold. But it looks like to me that the bullion banks, the big shorts, they're trying to stuff the SLV with shorts, the PSLV, because that means that PSLV doesn't have to buy physical because let's say you go and buy 1,000 shares of PSLV, and then PSLV has to buy the physical to match your position. But if someone comes and shorts 1,000, then they don't have to buy the physical. I think that's what's going on. I don't think there is a problem per se with PSLV, but the banksters are using the fact that they can borrow PSLV shares to stop PSLV from buying the physical. The thing to do is to call your broker or whoever holds your PSLV and tell them you don't want to lend your shares, or also leave a GTC order to sell the PSLV, let's say at $1,000 per ounce, which is way above. But from what I've heard, if you leave a GTC order, they can't lend your shares. William MCD, please, does the Demoneta imply a place for monetary platinum? No, it doesn't at all because platinum, actually, platinum was a metal that came about, I think, the early 1800s. Demoneta is from the mid 1300s, so there wasn't even platinum at the time that that work was written. So nothing about platinum. Indorama says no comment from Sprott. Yeah, Sprott. Yeah, it's Sprott Inc. because there's different Sprotts. Sprott Management, Sprott Money, Sprott Inc. Eric Wild, if you had 200,000, how would you invest in right now? Uh, I have a lot of silver considering more gold. Yeah, gold, 200,000 of what, Eric Wild? 200,000 Turkish lira or 200,000 US dollars? I'm not a mind reader, but if it is dollars, yeah, I mean, I would, if I had 200,000, let's say pounds or dollars, I would put a lot of it in gold, some silver, and maybe 10% in the mining sector or commodity sector. But it all depends on how much risk you want to take. I'm quite a risk averse individual. So, I mean, some people would probably put 30% in commodity stocks and miners and then put the rest in gold and silver or even more in the miners. It's up to you to decide. Cosmo, thank you for your super chat. Thoughts on jewelry? Just splurged on platinum chain. Yeah, I mean, if you can get jewelry for, there, if you weigh the jewelry, and the excuse me, the markup isn't that bad. Why not? I'm more into gold and silver because they are historically the monetary metals. Excuse me. I still have that cold is still lingering a bit. I'm much better, but just have to clear. But platinum, yeah, it's quite undervalued relative to gold. So if you like the jewelry as well, if you like wearing it, why not? Yeah, Rudy is here. There he is. Someone just put a Rudy. Uh, Rumpelstiltskin, nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a while here. Says JGB rates rising. Does placing fail? Prices falling. Yeah. JGB prices falling. Yeah. And yet yen strengthening. Yeah, the yen is strengthening because Japanese investors now, they, you know, the higher the JGB yields go, the more attractive it is for them to put their money in JGBs. And that's why the JGB is strengthening. And it looks, I think the BOJ meets this week. And I think they've got cold feet. They're supposed to raise rates, but they might not. That might weaken the yen. But I think JGBs are in a bear market as well, and that's not good for Japan and the yen. Angel, so what is white gold? We never hear about it anymore. Well, my wedding ring is white gold. Um, it's 18 karat gold. So, excuse me, it's 75% gold and the rest 25% silver. That's white gold. Yeah, that's what white gold is. So, oh, okay, 8 o'clock, London. So let's touch upon the topic of the live stream. Before that, though, I've got another super chat. Blue Water Stacks, thank you. I'm trying to start a global silver squeeze for Friday. How does the timing look for a squeeze? Well, I think the best way to have a silver squeeze is over not just one day, but just to keep stacking, as much as you can and trying to educate people to the fact that buying ETFs is not the way to go about it. Excuse me. ETFs are just an instrument of the bankers. And even though PSLV, you could argue that it's not a bankster instrument, they're using it and abusing it to keep the price down. So, yeah, I'm not sure these one day events like stacking to try to create a squeeze works, from the retail market. I think the best thing is just to for people to start buying physical. And I think also the price going up, price of silver is going to attract more and more people to look into silver. So let's go back here. So the title. Gold revaluation clause embedded in Bitcoin strategic reserve bill. So I saw this, I think, on what day was this? Let's have a look. March 15th. So this was yesterday, and I was quite surprised to see this. And it was this guy here, TF Metals, and I think also Luke Groman. And let me go into it. They found that, so there's Eric Young. Oh, let me share this. So hold on. So here we go. Eric Young, he posted this because TF Metals report, he found something from Luke Groman about this Bitcoin strategic reserve bill that was reintroduced by Senator Loomis from Wyoming. Was it reintroduced on the 11th of March last week? And so let's go through this. U.S. Treasury mark-to-market physical gold revaluation within 270 days, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I just have to get more water. If this is correct, well, I told you so. Almost everything I said is correct. The Fed instructed its member bullion banks to repatriate U.S. Treasury gold. Hmm. Most of the huge volume gold imports by the bullion banks in the last 3 months did not cost the U.S. government any money. So first of all, this is potentially what could happen, right? Because this bill has been introduced to the Senate and the House, and it still would have to go through both houses of Congress, and President Trump would have to sign it. But here's the bill. And as I said, it was reintroduced last week. So it's got like 13 pages, and Miss Loomis introduced the bill, right, to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and other programs to ensure transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government. So it's interesting that people weren't talking about too much about this and gold when it came out on the 11th. But then if you scroll down to almost the last page, and I'm scrolling, here we go. That's page 13. But here on page 12, this is what is interesting. So we'll go through this here. It says Federal Reserve System gold certificates, right? Why they're talking about gold certificates in a Bitcoin reserve, strategic reserve bill? Well, maybe the Bitcoin strategic reserve bill is just a cover so that people don't realize that this is happening with gold. And that's, of course, speculation from my part. Not later than 100 days after the date of enactment of this act, Federal Reserve banks shall tender all outstanding gold certificates in their custody to the Secretary. That's the Secretary of the Treasury. Not later than 90 days after the tender of last such certificates, the Secretary shall issue new gold certificates to the Federal Reserve banks that reflect the fair market value price of the gold held against such certificates by the Treasury as of the date specified by the Secretary on each new gold certificate. Upon issue by the Secretary, each Federal Reserve Bank that receives a new gold certificate shall remit the difference in cash value between the old and new gold certificates to the secretary for deposit in the general fund within 90 days. Well, that's the general treasury fund with the Fed. And it says here, confirming amendment section blah 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 blah. U.S. code is amended by striking for the purpose of issuing those certificates of 42 and 2/9 dollar a fine troy ounce. So they would strike that and put the new price. The old price, of course, is 42 and 2/9, which is 42.20 22222. It's all twos, two ninths. So what does that mean? Well, Eric Young has another post here, which is really interesting. And then we're going to look at what it could mean to the price. Whereas, what else did I think it was here? Where is it? Oh, did I get rid of it? Let's go and look for it. Oh, here we are. I think it's here. Yeah, this is quite interesting as well. He says, guess why the bill says each Federal Reserve Bank that receives a new gold certificate shall remit the difference in cash value between the old and the new gold certificates to the Secretary for Deposit in the General Fund within 90 days. Well, he says because the US government will have to buy the old gold certificates from the Fed. They'll buy it at 42.22, and then they'll sell the new gold certificates to the Fed at, let's say, $3,000, and get the cash difference. But it will most likely be done in a single accounting entry, and the cash remittance to the Treasury General account will be the difference in cash value between the old and the new gold certificates. So I think the difference is something like 800 billion, 700 billion dollars, which would be a good amount for the Treasury account at the Fed. So, yeah, there's no gold sold. There's nothing really. It's just a bookkeeping entry. But the reason why all the gold is flowing into the US is because these Federal Reserve regional banks, they leased it all out, it looks like, or they leased a big chunk of it out. So, I've gone on and on for a while. Let me just see if you got questions here. Uh, let's see. Blue Water Stacks. Oh, ounces. Hi, ounces. Nice to see you. We are privileged to live through such interesting times. We are on the precipice of financial realignment, and gold and silver will be leading the way. I agree. And the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, he did an interview in the beginning of November prior to the election. Excuse me. Really annoying. Sorry about that. And in that interview on YouTube, and I'm going to put a link to it later on in the description of this video. He told the guy who interviewed him at the time he was still at his hedge fund that gold was his biggest holding, the hedge fund's holding, and that he sees a Bretton Woods like realignment of the whole global monetary system. So yeah, I think this is definitely happening. And I think it's going to be exciting times for those of us who have been stacking gold and silver. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to miss out, but that's usually the way it works, unfortunately. The people, the general public, they suffer because, and how will they suffer? Well, the currency that they hold right now, the paper, that will become even more worthless, but very quickly and almost overnight, in my opinion, because when this bill goes through, and I think it will, all hell could break loose in terms of the price of gold and silver. That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it's a good chance. Swamp Ass Gaming, if the USA revalues gold, but then sells the certificates to buy Bitcoin, no, they wouldn't have to sell the certificates because they would have the profit of $800 billion dollars. So they could take 10 billion from their Treasury General account and buy Bitcoin. The gold will never move anywhere. They'll just revalue the price. Yeah, this would be inflationary in Durarama because it means the fiat dollar would buy a lot less. It would be inflationary. And I think that's why Trump is trying to do a lot of stuff, not just with tariffs, but trying to promote industry, in that more industry and more stuff being made in the US. Yeah. Joshua Porter, do you like jewelry for barter? Uh, I think the best thing really is coins for barter, but jewelry would do. I mean, I'm quite good at knowing how much jewelry is worth. So if you brought like a ring, a gold ring, I probably wouldn't pay you for the diamond. I'd say I'd take the gold and I'll wait for you and tell you I'll give you so much. Um, it's quite easy. You just have to look at the hallmark to see, if it's 18 karat and you weigh it, 18 karat gold, you weigh it, let's say it's 5 grams. So you do 5 grams times 0.75 because that's 18 karat. You always take the carat divided by 24 and you get the percentage. What's going on here? All right. Something's happened here. I've had to do something here. Pop chat. Sorry about this. Had a problem here with my with the chat box. Yeah, so yeah, I would accept, excuse me, jewelry, but I'd prefer a coin. Pakistan Zinda Goods. I just made a new video for all you gold bugs and stackers. Please check it out. I melted. Okay. Anyway, yeah, Bert Green says, please refresh and start. I have. Don't know what happened there. Yeah, Pakistan, Zindagut, we've got your message. You don't have to keep posting it. I wanted to show something here because I think one of you asked what would happen to the price of gold if they were to revalue the statutory price, because the statutory price right now is still $42.22 or $42 and two ninths. Yeah, technically is two ninths, which is 0.22222. So let's have a look and keep in mind though that up until here, gold was you couldn't trade or buy gold in the United States. So this is the international market. But the first time, well, when they revalued gold from 35 to 38, and I've got the New York Times archive here, and it was March 21st, uh, right here. March 21st is here. 1972, they revalued from 35 to 38. And at the time, the international market price was already 48.70. So gold just kept going up and then it kept going up. And then the next year on February 12th, they had to revalue it again. As you can see here, gold to be revalued February 13th. That was the day after, from 38 to 42 and 2 ninths. And then the market price was $20 higher from the previous. And then it just kept going up and went up above 100, got back below 100 a little bit here, but we never saw those prices ever again. And why is that? Well, because the statutory price is the price at which the yeah the the Treasury is prepared to buy gold. So if you have a statutory price, that means that you have like a put from the government, and they will always buy gold at that price. So, and look at where gold ended up going, almost $900 in the next few years up until 1980. I mean, back down here, it came, it went to like 200 almost in the end of 74. Then it corrected almost 50%, but we've never seen those prices ever again. So they could revalue it maybe a bit lower than the market price right now. They could revalue it to 2,500 or 2,750, but I think the effect would be very bullish. And why is that? Well, the first reason is because that would signify a put, so people would be comfortable with buying gold around 3,000 because it probably will never go below that level. But the other one, I think the other reason, I think it's an admission by the US Treasury and the Fed that gold is really important, that the dollar is lost its shine, so to speak. And after 52 years, they've finally changed that $42.22 price. I think that's the major reason why. And as we saw last time they revalued, um, yeah, they had to revalue the year after. So yeah, I think it's very bullish. Again, that bill hasn't been passed. Uh, Maybe some of you know a little bit about that bill, whether you think it's going to go through quickly through the Senate and the House. I think if it does go through quickly through both Senate and the House, President Trump will definitely sign it. And I don't see why it shouldn't go through because it means more fiat currency for Congress to spend, and I think both sides of the aisle like that. Yeah, and it would be inflationary. Uh, Ounces says, thank you for your super chat. There's some more super chats here. Let me have a look. Uh, DZ015 says, would a gold revaluation be negative in any way for central banks and the US? Maybe it's an admission of failure, but also an attempt at fixing things. I don't think many people would understand it as an admission of failure. I think it would, just like it would be good for people who stack gold because the price would go up. It would be good for central banks and treasuries because it means it would pad up their balance sheets. So yeah, it will pad up the balance sheet of the Fed as well because the Fed has the 8,133 metric tons at $42.22, which I think is only 11 billion. Excuse me. And the Fed has had a lot of losses. So that will help balance out the losses. Yeah. Big push ape. Thank you for your super chat. I have been stacking gold and silver over 10 years now. I've never sold any of it. How do I sell a large amount in one go? I have stacked about 40 ounces of gold, 100 ounces of silver. Well, I don't know who you bought it from, what dealer, but what I can say is uh, if you're looking to sell, if you need to sell, because I wouldn't be selling, you can contact my affiliate, Gold Investments. I've been dealing with them for over 20 years. They've been in business since 1981. It's a family-run business, and they can easily buy 40 ounces of gold from you and silver as well. Uh, it's goldinvestments.co.uk. The link to their website is below in the description of this video. The other, you can call them and tell them that I referred you to them. And yeah, Oliver Temple and Simon Temple, they're brothers. They'll take care of you. And you can even, excuse me, The, you can even go to their offices in London, or you know, I would say that's probably the best thing to take your gold there, make an appointment, they will send the cash straight to your account once you give them the metals. Ounces, thank you for your super chat. There are a lot of catalysts coming. This Bitcoin bill, as well as the Basel III deadline in July. Lots to look. Yeah, Basel III as well is making. Yeah, what that is doing. The bullion banks are realizing that if they keep the gold allocated, or you know, their clients' gold allocated in physical, uh, yes, the risk the gold is like risk free, right? And if they don't keep it allocated or just unallocated, gold is only 85% risk free. So that's the other reason why a lot of the gold is flowing out of the LBMA. Uh, Sat Stacker, thank you for your super chat. Do you think this bill will pass Congress? Well, as I said, um, I think once they vote on it, I think it will pass, because it's a win-win for both sides, I would say. But you never know. You never know. It's a win-win because it would mean more money for the Treasury and Congress to spend. Uh, Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. When precious metals eventually break away from the LBMA and COMEX and trade freely, is there a good chance they will be manipulated again down the road as they are today? Thanks. Uh, I mean, anything's possible, but I think it would be a long time until they start this scheme again, because it would be wide open to the world that that happened. I mean, you and I and a lot of people who have been following me, and other people who are in the gold sector, they've known this for over 20 years. I mean, Bill Murphy from GATA has been talking about this since 1999. So, yeah, I think. I would hope that, yeah, it wouldn't happen again, but human nature is always looking for ways to defraud people. But I think it would be a long time before it started again. Yeah, full of hope. I've got some water. It's just that I'm a lot better from my cold, but just a croaky throat. Pakistan Zindaga, do you think that all the gold is being shipped to the US because everyone is preparing for a war? Uh, it could be, but that happened, I guess, in the 30s. But I think it could be more to do with this revaluation, because if the Federal Reserve banks leased out the Treasury's gold, and the Treasury wants to revalue the gold, they need the gold back. It could be because of war as well. It could be several things. Let's see. I hope it's there isn't any war though, because I don't think that would be a good thing, of course. Uh, there we go. Second time it happened. Oh, someone I wanted to show you guys this as well. It's just a cartoon. uh, Trojan horse, Bitcoin bill, gold revaluation. So there you go. I think that says it well. Mr. Wonderful. My father wants to sell his wife's 8.5 millimeter 24-inch pearl necklace. How much do you think it should sell for? I don't know anything about pearls, so you have to ask a jeweler. We cover precious metals here, not pearls. I mean, I'm not saying they're not worth anything, but I don't know. Jennifer McGeorge, I love watching Mario slip candies into his mouth. No, it's just yeah, I've got yeah, it's still yeah, I haven't played golf this week because I wasn't too well, but I will be playing on Tuesday. Bore class says the golden rule is that any currency issued without intrinsic value will one day return to its initial value, which is zero. Yeah, I think that was who was it? The French Voltaire said that, I think. Pino Kushner, why shouldn't the gold go down? Well, because if it goes down, the balance sheet of the Fed goes down, and and that's the statutory price. That means that's the price that uh, the government and the Treasury has set. So it acts like a floor. Prior to 1934, the price was $20.67. That price was set in 1834. So for 100 years, that was the statutory price. Um, so it doesn't go, that's the floor for the price. We got a few more super chats here. Stephen, mon plaisir. Thank you for your super chat. They will call it the Golden Bucket Shop. The new way to separate a fool from their money, whatever that means. Uh, Ounces, thank you for your super chat. If I want to track my physical gold and silver, do you know a good app to do that? Shameless plug. Oh yeah, that's right. Ounces has a really good app, and I've got the app. Have you just got it on Apple, or have you also got it now for Android? So basically, you download Ounces, and you can put. I think he's got gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, and you put the amount of ounces that you have of gold and silver, and it updates every second with the price of gold, so you can know what your stack is worth in dollars, British pounds, and all the other currencies. It's a really good app, Ounces. Yeah, it is a plug, but it's a plug I don't mind plugging. Hizya 18, Mario, are you planning to invest in any European military industrial complex stocks? Not really, Hizya. I mean, I did a plug for a company called Military Metals, a Canadian company that's investing in a metal called antimony. Uh, and they're based in Canada, but they have mines in the US. But I'm not really planning to help the European Union rebuild their military industrial complex. So, I mean, I could, but that's not where I want to put my money, even if it goes up. And I would say probably the big, you've probably had a big move already in the big European defense stocks. So if you are interested, you probably maybe wait a little bit when there's a correction and then you get back in. The name of the app is Ounces, just like, yeah, Ounces. It's not Francine, it's not a gold wallet. It's just an app for you to keep track of the value of your gold and silver in different fiat currencies. And it's really easy to update. If you sell some gold and silver, you can't like pay with it. It's just to keep track of it. All right. I've been having to refresh the chat. It keeps falling off. It's annoying. Anyway, let's see more questions. What's Blue X, what's better in gold than Bitcoin at this point, sir? For me, gold, you can hold it, right? And it's been money and it's a store of value for thousands of years. Bitcoin, I can't hold it, and it's only been around for a decade and a half. So, and it's very volatile. Gold is very stable. It's the most stable store of value. It has been for thousands of years. I sleep a lot better at night having gold rather than Bitcoin. And I have had Bitcoin many years ago. I've known about Bitcoin, but I prefer gold. There you go. Fuzzy Love, is Glint any good? Yeah, it's a good app. That it's different from Ounces, of course, because with the Glint app, you actually buy physical gold, which they keep in a vault in Switzerland in an allocated account. They also provide you with a debit card, so you can spend your gold. And I think you can get silver now as well, even though you can't spend the silver. I'm affiliated with Glint, and yeah, there's some links below in the description if you're interested in looking at it. Personally, here in the UK, I prefer Coins of the Realm, even though I have a Glint account, because it's liable for capital gains tax because they don't hold sovereigns and Britannias. So there you go. 24 Baby Bull says silver will break 34 this week. I think it traded just above 34 on Friday. I think it's possible, but you never know with the precious metals. Eventually it will. Heidi Zipfel says, I heard there's a plan to have two different revaluations for gold and silver. Do you think this is something that will happen? And if so, what will trigger the second revaluation? Maybe they need more money. So if they revalue it again, they'll get some extra cash at the Treasury gold account. That could be the reason. A learner, any recommendation, any anyone recommend any other knowledgeable people to give year besides Clive and Mario? Uh, I think Rafi Farber is good, the end game investor. And also Taylor Kenny from ITM. She's good. I interviewed her the other day. And Andy Schechtman, of course, from Miles Franklin. I think he knows his stuff. Copper is looking good, Bob Hawk. It's I think it's almost near $5 now, and I think it's going to break out. I'm quite. I think all commodities will do well, and they I think they've been in the bull market since they bottomed in 2020. It's just that we've had a consolidation since 2022, and I think it's now breaking out, and copper will do well. Echo Echo, thank you for your super chat. Do you think Rachel Thieves, Reeves, some people call her Thieves, she's the Chancellor of the Exchequer in the UK, which is like a secretary of the Treasury. Uh, do you think she will inevitably raise higher rate income tax to 45 or 50? Well, the higher rate is already 45, the higher rate of income tax. There's a 40% rate and a 45%. She could raise the 45 to 50. That would be the wrong thing, but she seems to only do the wrong thing. So anything is possible with Rachel. Echo Echo. I'm sorry to tell you. Pakistan Zindagud. Can we all take a moment to celebrate and applause the fact gold hit across 3,000, silver 34? Okay. Here's your 18. Mary, is there any update on delivery time from LBMA? Um, I haven't seen any updates, but I assume it's still quite a bit of delay. It might have come down a little bit, but I think the spot is still like 60 days, and that's coming from David Jensen, he's got contacts at the bullion banks. Eventually that will seep through to the retail market, I think, and I think it's going to start with higher premiums, and then it's going to be tough to get gold and silver physical. Borel Classe, a revaluation of gold to 50,000, silver to 1,000. Yeah, I don't think they're going to revalue it that high, Borel or Bore. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they will revalue it more near where the market price is. If they revalue it to 50,000, it would it would a lot of foreign investors, foreign sovereign holders of treasuries wouldn't be very happy because it would mean the dollars that they hold would be worthless. We could see a war if they did that. But what the revaluation, let's say to 3,000 could lead to, though, is a move towards 50,000 because I think it would put a rocket up the gold price because right now the statutory price is 42 and the market price is like 70 times that. So if you put the statutory price at 3,000, that same relationship should apply. So no, I don't think they revalue it to 50,000. Uh, Ounces. Thank you again for your super chat. Mario, with the info we currently have, what do you believe is the most likely reason for the gold and silver movement to the US we're seeing? Uh, I would say the top reason is this revaluation story and the fact that to revalue it, they would probably need an audit. And if the gold is encumbered, they need to close the leases and bring the gold back. That's the first reason. The second reason, I think, yeah, I think it's because, like the other guy said, it could be because they're scared of war. So if a lot of the U.S. gold is in Europe and there's a war in Europe, yeah, they'd want the gold back in the U.S. And also instability. Maybe it could be Warren Buffett buying some gold. He's got 334 billion in a cash or near cash treasury bills. So those three reasons, I would say. And also the other reason is under Basel III, it's better for the banks and their risk valuations to hold allocated physical gold for their clients, not like promissory notes. So, but I would say the major reason is the revaluation because according to StoneX, who's a member of the LBMA and a big bullion dealer, uh, over 2,000 tons have flowed into the US in 3 months. That's a lot. That's like a quarter of US gold reserves, official gold reserves. Luca, thank you for your super chat. How much can we trust Glint card respect to stacking gold at home? I think you can trust Glint. They do audits regularly, and they hold the gold, the physical gold, and you can also redeem it. They'll send you bars, and it's held in an allocated account. I think at Brinks at Zurich Airport in Switzerland. So, I mean, some people like it as they like putting some of their savings in gold and spending it. Um, it's just a good tool. I'm not saying you should buy all your gold through Glint, but it's something that you might want to try. Don't think it's risky. It's not a bank. It's just a depository. It's not going to lend the gold. And Durarama, thank you for your super chat. Mario, what do you think of the gold silver ratio? It doesn't seem to diverge too much from 1 to 80. Yeah, I know it's very frustrating. And I think someone said a few weeks ago, and it's interesting because we don't talk about this too much, is that a lot of the gold buying has been done by central banks. And central banks usually, I think, with the exception of maybe the Indian central bank and the Russian central bank, they don't buy silver. So silver has been kind of forgotten, and gold has been helped by all the central bank buying. But I think this 85 to 1 ratio is not gonna, or even 90 to 1, is not gonna persist. I think when silver breaks through. I think we're very close to it happening. Yeah. So if silver, let's say, breaks through 40 in the next few weeks, you could see, yeah, you could see silver outperform massively gold, I think. Silver star, yeah, Buffett probably stacking in quiet. Nick's poetry. Buffett is an American hero if he bought gold. We will need American investors with gold to recapitalize markets post-collapse. That's true. And his father, Howard Buffett, he was a sound money gold proponent. He wrote an article in 1948. He was a congressman from Nebraska. Gold redeemable money is key to human freedom. So I'm not, Warren Buffett's always been critical of gold, but I think he's been critical more of gold in that gold is not really an investment like a company. So, and I think that's what he means. But when the currency is in such dire straits as the dollar, and not just the dollar, but all fiat currencies are, gold becomes really important. And someone said earlier, fiat currencies uh, always revert to their intrinsic value, which is zero. And I think that's where they're going. And tomorrow, my video for tomorrow, I have an idea for it already, and I'm going to be talking about this. The dollar, not just the dollar, but all fiat currencies going to zero, and why I think that's happening right now. Yeah. Mark Ritchie says, I bet Alan Sugar isn't buying gold in the UK. Uh, Qualut Charlie says, at $42, I will sell 20% of my silver. Uh, well, I'm not going to sell any of my silver unless I really, I'm desperate and I need the fiat. Yeah, so there you go. That's me. Over here, have you, precious met, why have precious metal premium remained reasonable with modest increases? Well, I think it's because a lot of the demand has been more central bank demand. A lot of the demand has been more in the Far East. Yeah, and the public still, more interested in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies than gold. I mean, we've been following gold and we are enthusiasts, but you ask someone, in the street, or you show them a sovereign, and they don't even know what it is. I mean, Mark Dice is still doing those experiments. He tries to give people silver and gold, and they run away. So I think it's still early days, and that will change. Hannah, how long for stocks First Majestic to catch up? Yeah, I mean, First Majestic has been frustrating, but I, I think it's a good company, First Majestic. So yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take to catch up, uh, catch the wave. Jeff Brewer, do you have insurance on your stack? Um, Partly. Dupo Gang, I'm American. My family established our founding documents. Buffett has undermined all his life by greed and out of love of money. Yeah, I mean, it was someone who said that, an American hero. But yeah, I'm not saying Buffett. I think he is well connected. Doesn't mean to say he's a hero, but yeah, at the end of the day, he's going to look after his interests. But I kind of agree with you. I think his father was more of an American hero than he is. And Durama, do you think as the economy slows down, silver could move towards monetary metal to protect from stagflation? Yeah, I mean, in the 70s, we had stagflation, and silver did well in the 70s. Not every year, but it did well. So we've got about 9 minutes. Triple seven money cash. Wars will make markets bullish. Why it could also shut the markets. When World War One broke out in the summer of 1914, even the New York Stock Exchange closed for months. I think so not necessarily bullish. I think what war does is inflate the currency because governments will always overspend. They'll tell the public, well, it's a matter of life and death. We need to inflate or die, literally. And I'm not saying I think it's the right thing to do and it's the right thing to have wars, but if you look at all the wars throughout history, the result has been the general public gets poorer and killed as well, unfortunately. Winter Night from Italy. Uh, let's see, where is it? I missed the question. Oh, how would you mitigate the EU 22% VAT tax on silver? Well, here in the UK, you've got 20% VAT on silver. How do I mitigate? I don't, because from what I think silver is going to do, it won't matter. It shouldn't stop you from buying the silver. I remember the first time I bought silver was 2003, and the price of silver was like £3 an ounce, and I had to pay about 60 pence in VAT, and I wasn't happy, but now it's 26. So, you know, you should, you just, yeah, I wouldn't worry. I know it stops a lot of people from buying silver, but yeah, I still think it's a good metal to buy despite the VAT, because I think it's going to go a lot higher. I hope that helps. Jim Price says, sorry, I'm late. Doesn't matter. You can always watch it later, recorded. Francine Cook, thanks for the live stream, especially since you are still sick. Yeah, no, I'm not really. I'm almost recovered. It's just it's improved now. Just my throat is a little croaky, but I feel a lot better. Thank you anyway. Indy, thank you for your super chat. Treats for Rudy. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Rudy. I bought him this thing is called Buffalo Chunks. He's finished it, but what he does with it, he picks it up. They're like really chunky, meaty things, and he throws it around and starts barking at it. He's really funny. Eventually, he'll chew it. Maybe I'll buy some more buffalo treats with that. Thank you, Indy. Hizia, Mario, what is your opinion on Trump's actions carefully planned to crash the financial snake in Europe and rebuild the US? Madman with no clue or something? Yeah, I mean, he's doing a lot of stuff, first of all. He's done a lot of good things, in my opinion. He's done a lot of things I don't agree with. As for the economic policy, uh, I think it might just work because we've had 50 years of the same, and I think he's trying to change things with the tariffs, but it's the early days. Who knows? Um, yeah. And I see a lot of stuff on social media saying that what he's trying to do is crash the stock market so that bond yields fall so the treasury can refinance cheaper. I'm not so sure about that. It's really easy to say that. I just think the stock market is going down because it's overvalued. Uh, and that's what Warren Buffett has been doing because the indicator he looks at, the the market capitalization of the stock market divided by GDP is over 200%, and that's always really high. The other thing as well is DeepSeek, the Chinese AI, and Nvidia. Don't forget, the market has been going down quite a bit since DeepSeek came out, and they spent a fraction of the money to build their model, AI model. That hasn't helped. The other thing as well, if you think about globalization, the companies that it helped were the big American corporations because they outsourced a lot of their production to cheaper shores, cheaper labor, and things like that. But if Trump wants to bring everything back to the US, there's going to be a period of turbulence because it will mean that American companies are going to have to come back to the US. Their costs are going to go up, so their profits are going to go down. And I think that's why we're seeing partly as well. I'm not saying it, and I don't think he's doing that to bring yields down. He's doing that because he wants to bring the real economy back to the US. And yeah, the people who suffered the most are the companies that have benefited from globalization. So yeah, it's partly that too. I hope that helps. Got another 2 minutes. Christina Hames, I got a cough like you had a couple of weeks now. I think a lot of people have had this cough. Yeah, yeah, no, I've been drinking a lot of water. The mistake I made is that I went to play golf last Tuesday and I shouldn't have. I should have waited a little longer. So it's lingered on a a bit longer. And it's been the weather here has been nice, but we've had very cold winds. So it's like 9 degrees Celsius, but it feels like freezing. Captain X, what about real estate mortgage after a reset? Uh, I guess it depends where the bond markets go. Um, yeah, and what kind of reset? I mean, we're already seeing a reset every day. Gold goes up and silver goes up is kind of a reset. Um, yeah, it might be. I would say mortgages um, are going to be more expensive to have, because I think the world's moving more from financialization to more real things. So we've had 40 years where it's been really easy to borrow. So yeah, I think it's going to get harder and harder. So I'm not saying it's going to, mortgage rates are going to go to 15, 20%, but they might be stuck between 7 and 10. And it might be a lot harder to get the 5% down or 0% down mortgages. All right, it's top of the hour, so I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna thank all of you because yeah, it was really great. I was on my own today, but that's fine. Hopefully, Clive will be back next week. And yeah, I wish you all a great rest of the weekend, or a great start to the week. Some of you are in the Far East here. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And take care.